Okay, this is the Wrestling Guild. Welcome to it. We are going to talk about Impact from July 5th. We are part of the SLTD Wrestling Podcast Network, and you can find us on sltdwrestling.com. You can also find us on Spreaker and on Stitcher and YouTube, Soundcloud, anything. My name is Chris Merriheltman, and with me I have Nick Anderson. How are you doing, Nick?
I'm doing pretty good, just enjoying summer and just chilling and just, charging my batteries, as we say.
As we say in the business.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Actually, there's quite a bit of stuff that's been going on recently. We were going to talk about Zero Fear. We'll be doing that on a separate podcast, but also this week Friday was the rise of the Knockouts on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been looking looking at that?
Ads.
I've
just been scratching a bit on the surface, really. So I haven't really got to it, but we could review that. That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think so. That's something for a project for next week, maybe. Anyway, we were talking about that we weren't that happy about last week's episode. What did you think about this week's episode?
I think they stepped it up, to be honest. I mean, we had some... they stepped it up. We had some good matches here and there, and we had some good promos and some storylines that went, furthering storylines and whatnot. But I think we got some really good content this week.
I agree.
Or the Impact episode we were about to review. I think I'm quite happy.
I agree. I was also very happy with it, actually. I came away with it being quite satisfied. So we'll just jump right into it. It opens up with Rich Swann versus Fenix, and everybody was hyping that. They've been hyping this match a lot. So the question is, did it deliver?
It was a cool and good match to start with. I think it was a good choice to start with it. I mean, I think both did well, and we know Rich has been improving himself, and he always impresses me because somehow he is really, really good, even though sometimes he plays very stupid. And Fenix, we've seen him before, and we know that guy is good. And he's from Lucha Underground, right?
Yep.
So, and they're pretty brutal and whatnot. So they know what to do, high flying and that. I think we got a really good match. And Rich Swann here, he didn't really stand a chance at some points. I don't know. Fenix just goes for it in this match, and he doesn't really let Rich Swann execute any really good moves and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. No, I think they gave this match a long time. They had a lot of time, and they pulled out a lot of stops. There was a couple of botches here and there, but in the end, I think they really delivered. Definitely the best match of the night. In the end, Fenix wins, which was surprising that they defeated Rich Swann already in his second match. But there was, I think, good reason for it. Fenix wins. OVE attacks, and Pentagon comes out for the save, but it's not Pentagon, is it?
Psych.
Psych. It is Rich Swann. Oh, no, not Rich Swann. It's Sami Callihan, dressed as Pentagon, and is about to take off Fenix's mask, but Swann in for the save. He's taken out, and then Pentagon comes in.
Off them and whatnot, but I think then the real one comes out, right?
Yes, the real Pentagon.
so I really like Sami. I mean, he was really smart here. That was nothing I was expecting. So really, wow, really cool.
I And that sets up for the rest of for the evening, or for next week, this week actually, where we will see a trios match between OVE and Pentagon, Fenix, and Rich Swann.
Interesting.
Yes, interesting. We go to the command center. I kind of like this now that they've set that up. So you have the command center where you have Josh and you have Don Callis, and they talk about what's going to happen the rest of the evening and stuff like that. I like that because it kind of gets. Otherwise, it's oftentimes in these kind of shows you have like so many like surprises. Like, oh, these guys come out. Oh, that match was set up. And it's nicer that they have like this is going to happen. Conan is going to come out and talk, stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a good point right there. Because it's like you're getting your wrestling news right there for the episode.
Yeah,
he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have this and that, and you can just chill, and like you say, there won't be any surprises. So yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Then we had an interview with Ali and Madison Rain. They're going to face Su Yung and an undead bridesmaid. Yeah.
I quite like Madison. Like she wrestles really good, and she performs really well. And here, even like when she's getting interviewed and whatnot, she plays it off pretty cool.
Yeah.
And same goes for Ali. I mean,
I think.
Give a fudge.
No, I think they're really like the transformation from Ali being this little bunny who wasn't very good at anything or wasn't very good at wrestling. That's kind of transformation is now done and full, because now she is like the tough kind of like cherry bomb Ali, because she's gone through the whole thing. She was put in the casket and stuff like that, and now she's come back differently as a different person. So it was interesting to see.
Absolutely, I definitely agree. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, then we had the debut of Killer Cross facing Falaba. Falaba, of course, comes out with KM. Oh, actually, before that, we had KM talking to Falaba about, like, I did wrong and I'm a big douchehole, stuff like that.
Like, he will prove it or something? Yeah. Like, I'll prove it to you and whatnot. So,
how did you like this?
I mean, I just realized how, like, Killer Cross is such a huge dude compared to, like, Cage and Bobby. I mean, this guy is a walking tank. And, I mean, I've said that before, but now we're really talking like a big walking tank right here. I mean, like, Fala, he tries his best, but, and he tried to handle it and whatnot, but at the end he got, like, knocked out. And, like, KM tries to save him. Like, Killer Cross just goes through people.
Yeah, so Cross wins with a choke. KM interrupts and tries to take him out, but he gets choked out himself. And then Petey Williams comes out for the save.
I mean, yeah, he comes out and he tries to hit him with a steel chair. And he hits him in the back, and it doesn't really work anymore. So steel chairs is not an option anymore for a Killer Cross. Then he gets one in the face, and that's where it actually works.
Yeah. What would you do with Killer Cross? I mean, do you think that a program with Petey Williams is actually like the right way to go?
Not really. I mean, Petey is quite small. I mean, if you look at Killer Cross, I would most probably put him with, like, Cage, maybe Congo Kong, but hopefully Bobby, but he ain't coming back. I mean, because you have to put him with the huge dudes, because he is a huge dude himself. So I think it would be unfair to put, like, maybe Matt Sydal and whatnot, or like Trevor Lee. I mean, that's not really fair. Mm-hmm. Or like, but at the same time, Austin Aries. I mean, it might work, but it's going to be hard for them, really.
Yeah. Then we saw a vignette for a new knockout. There's been talk of Shotzi Blackheart coming in, but I heard something about her being injured, so I don't know. They were talking about it on Rise of the Knockouts that she was injured, but I don't know how true that is. But anyway, there was a vignette for a new knockout coming. So they're putting more and more emphasis on the knockouts division, which I think is good.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, it's quite funny. She's like, yeah, I'll be there. And we're having a new knockout. And then it's like, I'm sick. Maybe another 10.
Yeah. Then we had the match, Su Yung and the Bridesmaid versus Ali and Madison Rayne. How did you like this match?
I mean, I think that we had a really good team, which was Ali and Madison. I mean, they really killed it. I think Su Yung and her, like, Undead Bride, didn't really work out that well. And, like, Su Yung tried to, like, take Madison down and whatnot, but she didn't really succeed because Madison kept going. And like we just talked about, like Ali going, like being a bunny to a hardcore and hard-hitting wrestler is just amazing, and you can really see that in these matches. I mean, she just doesn't care anymore. She just goes for it. So I was really impressed with this match, and I was really satisfied. But yeah, I mean, but at the same time, Ali and Madison, the teamwork wasn't really there, but at the same time, they're a good team. I don't know how to explain that. I don't know.
Yeah, I was not especially satisfied with this match. I thought that this was kind of a dull match. I think it was kind of sloppy. You could tell that whoever this Undead Bridesmaid wasn't. I don't know if they were comfortable in the role that they were playing or whatever, but it wasn't really working out. And so it kind of dulled me. I thought it was dull. Madison Rayne hits the cross rain on Su Yung, but the ref is blinded at the time. And then Tessa Blanchard comes out and attacks. Ali comes in for the save. Rain hits her finisher on the Bridesmaid instead and wins.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah.
But I'm wondering if this is going to set up a program between Tessa Blanchard and Ali, and that could be interesting.
Yeah, because Ali is really, like, pissed off. She just doesn't, she's not nice anymore. She's just, like, just brick wall.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Then we had LAX in the clubhouse. They talk about Conan and his proof, and they get angry at each other. King and LAX get angry at each other. King says that Conan doesn't have any proof. There's nothing to prove, anything like that. So we'll see where that ends up.
Yeah, like he tries to like turn everyone against Conan.
Then we had the Desi Hit Squad trading with Gamma Singh. Well, what did you think of this vignette, or this little thing?
This Gamma Singh guy. I mean, we saw him in Zero Fear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's really harsh. I mean, these guys are like training and whatnot, and then he's like, "Yeah, push-up time in the middle of the rain. He has just been training for a couple of hours. Come on, chop." And then he like slaps people and whatnot. I don't get.
Well, say what you will about this whole thing. What is clear is that Gamma Singh isn't that great of an actor. I would say.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's fun to see. We'll see what happens with. I mean, they're putting a lot of stock into the Desi Hit Squad. I mean, they're doing a lot. They're trying to push them quite well. But on the other hand, they're a team that is basically unknown. I mean, at least when OVE came in, they came in being famous from before. And when LAX came in, which is basically a new LAX, Ortiz and Santana, they still had the LAX name. So I mean, that was one part of it. So they're trying to build them up, and I mean, all power to them for that. Then we had OVE cutting a promo on Pentagon Jr. saying that they're taking everything. They're taking everybody's mask. They're taking Fenix masks, and they're taking Pentagon's mask, and they're taking Rich Swann's face. So
I mean, these segments are really, really good. I mean, I really like them. I mean, at the same time, I'm looking like, if you would look from this, like from behind, it looks like three people are trying to get into one picture while holding a video camera. But when you're actually watching this stuff, and it's really good edited and whatnot, I mean, it looks really, really good. Yeah. I mean, I'm really convinced.
Yeah, no, that's true. I agree with that. They do that very very well, and it's in character with what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Then we have a little vignette or a promo from Austin Aries about his journey. Talks about how he got started. Talks about the difference between him and Moose. Just kind of, enforcing his kind of heel status as like this cocky heel who doesn't give like a damn or just thinks he's just better than everybody else.
I don't know if we're gonna see this like each episode. We're gonna see a different wrestler because if I'm not wrong, like last episode we saw like Moose talking about his life and whatnot. I don't know if it's going to keep going like this or...
I think it's just going to be Austin Aries and Moose are the ones that are in the main event at Slammiversary. I think that's all about it is.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Then we had Conan talking to somebody on the phone. He says he's going to expose King and the war will begin. That's interesting.
Conan, I've been missing him.
Then we had Tommy Dreamer cutting a promo about his legacy and his past. He was all bloody and stuff like that, and he wanted to help Eddie Edwards, and now he's going to become obsessed with Eddie, and they're just going to fight it out.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie destroyed Tommy Dreamer. He was like bleeding all over the place.
I mean,
obviously Dreamer was pissed, but damn, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this is good, and it'll probably be quite the brutal match, I think, between the two of them at Slammiversary. Yeah. Then we saw Rebel in her debut match, or a returning match actually to Impact. Rebel and Katrina go at it against each other. We've seen Rebel a couple of times before now on one night onlys and stuff like that. So basically a double return here, Rebel and Katrina.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think like the match itself, we had Rebel against Katrina, and then obviously we had Grado jumping around dancing because some people thought it was Grado that he was about to perform something, or maybe he was about to wrestle, but no, he was just there. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, Rebel takes like Karina for most of the match, and it was a cool match, but not so much hard hitting.
No, but it shows. It shows that Katrina is a good wrestler. We've seen her before, also on one night onlys and stuff like that. But she wins with a backbreaker. Katrina and Grado celebrate the win afterwards, and she has a surprise for him, for Grado, and it is their old buddy Joe Hendry, who shows up, and he's singing and stuff like that. He's the prestigious one, Joe Hendry, as they call it. He's a British wrestler, and they know each other from before. So I'm thinking that this is going to be a little bit of a conflict, or a three way or something like that. It's going to be something. It's going to be something between the three of them, I think. So we'll see about that. Joe Hendry is kind of like a fun wrestler. I think at the same time as he's got the look and the ability.
So he's more towards like Grado, or
I think he has the humor of Grado kind of, but he's also Scottish. So that's that. But he's good. He's better at wrestling than Grado is.
Oh, okay. So he's a little bit more serious, but at the same time,
yeah,
a little fun guy,
fun loving. And then we had the kind of main event of the evening. It was Congo Kong versus Brian Cage, and everybody that I've heard about said that this was a really awesome match. How did you find it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with him. Awesome match, hard hitting to the roof, like out of the roof to the sky. I mean, wow. And it's quite cool because Congo actually dominates like Cage for quite a while, and I think it's called like choke slam and whatnot. And
yeah.
Wow, like he took him up in the air and then slammed him down. Wow, I mean that must hurt. But then sadly towards the end of the match, he kind of loses control. I don't know if he got tired, and then like Cage takes like Kongo down, and he starts dominating and has the upper part.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a good match. I liked it. Not the best of not well. I mean, it was one of the best matches of the evening, I think. It showed off what Conor Khan can do, and definitely showed off what Brian Cage can do. He wins with an F1 or F5, as they call it. It just bringing up Conor Khan on your shoulders like that and slamming him down. That's impressive.
That is impressive, absolutely.
Yeah, and then Conan comes to the ring. After that, he calls out King. He comes out with Santana and Ortiz. Conan says that he made King, but King says he says he needs the proof. Conan claims that King's calls never happened, and that King is a walking glory hole, which was an interesting. Now let's see. They're going to be mowing the lawn here outside my podcasting booth, so we'll see what happens. Well, King admits that he did it and that he is the future. Santana and Ortiz turn on King, but the classic LAX, the ones that were LAX from the beginning, Hernandez and Homicide come out and attack them and leave everybody laying. And that's how the show ends. What did you think of that?
Wow. I mean, because I don't know. I can't really remember because there was so many people in the ring. But wasn't there like a 50-50? Because King and Conan was standing there, and they were like, "You have to choose sides and whatnot." And they give the finger to King, but they get jumped even there. So wow. And then they put like an LAX shirt like on Conan. That was wow. I mean, it was really good performed, execute well. I mean, that was nice.
Yeah. What would you give this? Well, that's how it ends. It was I thought that this was a great show. What would you rate this show?
I mean, we had good matches. Some were better than others, but I can't really complain that much. Maybe like a B, a solid B.
A solid B? Yeah, I'd give it a solid B too. Not on the A level as it needs to be, maybe. Or it should. But it was room. There's always room for improvement. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that was this week's episode of Impact. You can, of course, follow us on all social medias. And you can follow us on Spreaker.com, the podcast resource. I don't know. I might have to move here because of the lawnmower. But anyway, you can find all of that information in the show notes. That was it for this week's Impact, at least.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. I mean, I'm really excited for next week. I mean, I'm really, really excited.
Yeah.